Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I am going to be making a card using some Copic markers because, well, if you're a stamper, inevitably we got to color them in. I am by no means an expert on how to do this. However, I have picked up a few things over the years, and so I thought I'd share them with you today. First thing is I'm stamping my image with the Memento ink. I have tried other Copic safe ink pads before, but honestly, nothing ever compares to this. And I've even had ink bleed through and ruin my Copic markers. So I just like to stick to this. I am stamping this off, keeping the law of thirds in mind, meaning that I'm doing a focal point on 1/3 of the page, and I am keeping a lot of white space because it's pretty pleasing to the eye. For this technique and the stamps that I'm using, I do like to use my MISTI because it allows for perfect alignment every time. And in case I have to stamp it again, boom, there we go. Now the trick is with this, I don't have to use Copic safe markers, Copic safe ink pads on the rest of this. I can use just whatever ink I want because I'm not going to be coloring with Copic. So I'm using some Catherine Puller today. I do have everything listed for you down below, as well as some other stamp sets at the very end of that supply list that are fun to color too. I am in love with Colorado Company right now. Their lovely leg line is the only stamp that I will buy. Normally I don't buy stamps, but I love these. And this stamp, when I first saw this that I'm stamping here in red, I thought, oh no, I got to place those all individually. No. It's an entire stamp. So it came totally ready to stamp on. And I ended up getting this stamp set, not thinking I was going to use it for 4th of July. I thought it would be really fantastic for a birthday. Also, you could do like black and gold and do like a casual New Year's theme. You could color those balloons anything really and have any theme. So I think that this stamp set's super duper versatile. But I thought, well, it's getting around the 4th of July and I'd like to make my mom a card. So here we go. Once I get all of my stamping done, I'm going to place my card front on a piece of paper, just a scratch piece of paper. This actually allows for my alcohol ink to absorb into the paper and not back up into my image. And that is what causes a lot of people grief, especially if you're working on a glass mat, because that ink doesn't have anywhere to go but absorb right back into your beautiful card, and then you look like you have colored outside of the lines. So always put a piece of paper underneath of your stamped image and what you're coloring in. You want to go in first with the lightest color. Now, I am not going to be shading everything. My balloons I won't be shading, but for the skin, I am. So you go with your lightest color first, and then you're going to go in with your medium color after that, and just add in some of the shading. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to blend it all through. Now, you may be looking at this going, I don't know, this is pretty blotchy. And this is where people get frustrated, is these alcohol markers don't necessarily blend right from the get-go. You actually have to go through and blend them at the end with the lightest color that you use, which you'll see me do in a minute. I do not ever recommend using the colorless blender. The colorless blender is not a blender at all. It's more of an eraser. It is great to use if you get outside of the lines. You can push that ink back in and erase whatever came out. But to blend, just go through and do what I'm doing right now with the lightest color, and it'll all blend through beautifully. I also just don't think that you need the colorless blender in general. Even if you get some of the colors from perhaps the little shorts on here on her, you can go back through with that lighter color again and blend it out. It's so easy. I like to use a white jelly pin at the end to go around the edges, and you'll see me do that just to get any of those spots that I may have colored outside the lines with. I don't know anybody that colors perfectly. We all tend to be a little bit sloppy from time to time. So there's just ways to camouflage that. For these balloons, I am using 2 other Copic markers. It's an ultramarine and a strong red. I have listed for you down below the skin tone set, which I think is a must if you want to do Copic coloring. It takes the blending, the brain work out of it. You can totally blend any of those. Just do a light, medium, dark, and you're going to get a beautiful result. And then I also put in another basic Copic set to use if you're looking for somewhere to start, because I know it can be overwhelming and super expensive. And again, I don't blend everything through every time I use my Copics. I'll pick pieces that I want to blend out, and then I'll just go in and do straight coloring like I am here on these balloons. So once I get this all colored in, I am going to go back through and work on her shorts and her shirt. For the shading of the necks, I'm going to use 3 colors for her shirt and 1 color for her little shorts. And again, I'm laying down that lighter color first, and then I'm just going to actually follow what the artist did as far as the shading, which is following the wrinkles in her shirt. So I'm going to color around those wrinkles, a little bit more generous with this medium tone, and then I'm going to go in with the dark tone here, or my darkest tone. I'm just going to highlight where those wrinkles are, and then I'm going to go back through once again with my lighter tone and color it all out. I was going to do red on her shirt, but I was afraid it wouldn't stand out as much. But I wanted to keep kind of the same tone. I didn't want to go with a yellow shirt or a green shirt. I wanted it definitely to look patriotic with our American colors, and so that's why I stuck with this. I really like how these little denim shorts worked out. For this one, I'm only doing 2 colors. You don't need 3, and the area is so small that I really thought that I could do it with 2, and I'm super happy with how it all turned out and it blended together. One thing I wanted to tell you guys is if you're having a problem with your markers bleeding, try removing the top tip. The top top cap. Try to remove that, and that'll help it not bleed. I used to have a problem with that with my strong red. All right, so she is all done, and then I realized that I need to do the bottom still there, so I go back, and I don't want her to look like she's floating, so I color in, and I just use the skin tones again. I just use some darker ones for the shading on the bottom. I was feeling lazy, didn't want to pull out my greens and make her stand on some grass, so I just went in with what I had, and it worked. I really love how this turns out. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you enjoy content like this, please go ahead and do so. Make sure you hit that notification bell. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. The YouTube gods love that. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. I really love to interact with you guys. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know down there too as well, and I'll see what I can come up with. So once I get this all colored in, I'm going to go in with my white pen and just highlight out the areas, go over that I got sloppy. Now I'm going in with a sparkly pen, and I'm just hitting every single one of those little stars just to make it pop a little bit more. And I liked how much that looked, that I go back in with Stickles. I believe it's the Twinkle. I have it listed down below. And I actually highlight the blue stripes in each of those balloons. And once I get those all highlighted, I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. But there is quite a bit of white space, which I don't really mind. However, I do want to pull it all in. And so I pull out my liquid pearls, and add some in the corner. The reason why I'm doing the pearls is because it'll keep its height on it. It won't flatten out like Stickles would, and so this will keep the dimension nice. All right, now I'm thinking I'm done, but I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not. There's one thing I got to do. I got to ink the edges. So I pull out my archival ink and I just go around the edges. You guys, don't do this at the end like I'm doing it. Do it before you put the liquid dots down because this can get messy. I had to be very, very careful. But by doing so, it just finished off the card and created, I think, a nice sense of balance and framing for the whole piece. I certainly hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure you follow along on Instagram too to see other projects. Until next time, I'm Bets Golden. Happy crafting.